Order. Before we call the roll, I'd like to introduce a couple special guests. We have Bourbon County FFA is with us this morning, so glad to have them up here. I know they're just here early, and their real mission is to get to Ag meeting, but glad to have them stop in at L&O. They came last year, and I heard they really enjoyed some of the discussion that went on. So glad they made it back up here. So welcome to them. Also have my brother Charles is here, and my mother Teresa is up here as well. Wonderful lady. She raised 10 kids, and that was a very tough job because not all of them were as well behaved as I was. So welcome. Glad you all made it up here. And Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative All.
Here.
Representative Banta. Representative Callaway.
Present.
Representative Kleins. Representative Dietz.
Here.
Representative Donworth. Representative Pfister.
Here.
Representative Flannery.
Here.
Representative Gentry. Representative Hampton.
Here.
Representative Hevron. Representative Huff.
Here.
Representative Jackson. Representative Kulkarni. Representative Meredith. Representative Neighbors.
Here.
Representative Raymer.
Here.
Representative Smith. Representative Wilson. Chairman Cook.
Here. We have a quorum, duly constituted to do business. I know we're fighting with House Education Committee at the same time again, so we'll have members coming in and out as the meeting goes on. It would not be an L&O meeting without Representative Derek Lewis here to present. So we're going to go a little bit out of order. He requested to go first, so we're going to pull him up and let him present first so he can get to his speaking engagement. And you know the drill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I might just have to join this committee. I think I've been in here more than
We'd
I
love
ever
to
have
have you.
before.
All are welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Derek Lewis of the 90th District, proudly representing Leslie, Clay, and Laurel counties. I'll let my guests introduce themselves.
Good morning. I'm Karen Howard. I'm with the reg staff, and I'm here to answer any procedural questions.
Good morning, Laura Began, also with Reg staff, here for just technical procedural questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So at the beginning of session, I've proudly had the privilege of serving as co-chair on the Administrative Regulation Review Subcommittee, a subcommittee of this committee, actually, for the past 2 years. And so at the beginning of session, I came to staff and I asked them point blank, what can we do to make your jobs easier? Because as you can imagine, we meet every month, and you're seeing everything from fish and wildlife, hunting season dates, board of nursing issues. Representative Neighbors can attest to the sign language interpreters issues. So everything in the world is coming through that committee. So this bill is essentially just is streamlining processes, making things more efficient, and giving clarity to what we do. But I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Motion on the bill.
If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Representative All.
Yes.
Representative Banta.
I'd like to record a yes and that I am present. Thank you.
Representative Callaway.
Aye.
Representative Kleins. Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Donworth.
I'd like to record my presence and a yes vote, please.
Representative Pfister.
Yes.
Representative Flannery.
Yes.
Representative Gentry. Representative Hampton.
Yes.
Representative Hevron. Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni.
Yes.
Representative Meredith. Representative Neighbors.
Yes.
Representative Raymer.
Yes.
Representative Smith. Representative Wilson.
Yes.
Chairman Cook.
Yes. Bill passes. Look forward to hearing it on the House floor. Good luck.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee.
Okay, back to our regular scheduled program. Let's go to House Bill 6. We have Representative Wade Williams with us. Welcome, sir. I believe it's your first time presenting to L&O, so just make sure your green light's on, introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Wade Williams. I'm the I represent the 4th District in Hopkins County. Today, I got a pretty easy bill, I think, to present to you today. And I'm probably just going to give you a little information you may or may not know. But the Kentucky Administrative Regulations, something we were just talking about, contain more than 122,000 restrictions. This makes Kentucky the 23rd most regulated state in the country. It doesn't even include per capita. The regulatory environment determines how a state thrives or fails to thrive, and that's from corporations to farmers to small businesses to individual taxpayers. Everybody feels the impacts of regulations in their daily lives. Regulatory overreach can slow job creation, hamper investment, and stifle economic growth. Overregulation is essentially a hidden tax. I think we all can attest to that. Too often, important, costly decisions are made in Frankfurt, not by legislators who are elected by their constituents, but by unelected, unaccountable government officials. Executive agencies do not have the inherent authority to issue rules that carry the weight of law. The General Assembly has that authority to set boundaries of lawful delegation. House Bill 6 reins in some of that administrative state. House Bill 6 is an essence of Section 8 of the bill. It focuses on administrative regulations that have a major economic impact. That's defined as $500,000 or more in a 2-year period. Now, this doesn't preclude them from promulgating regulations. It just says that for $500,000 or more, it has to come through the legislative body. They have to work with us in a collaborative effort to do that. So House Bill 6, simple bill. Regulation is more than $500,000.
Motion on the bill.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, but I believe we have a question from Representative All first.
Thank you, Chairman. Representative Williams, I got a few things to ask here.
Yeah.
Did you receive, and did I imagine most members of this committee received the letter from the Energy and Environment Cabinet with their concerns about this piece of legislation?
I did. Thank you for the question.
Would you like to address any of those concerns that they addressed in their letter?
I can pick some of those out. I can probably go by paragraph if you'd like. So the first paragraph, they mention about the authority to regulate, and I feel, and I think there's others of us in this room that feel that the cabinet is not accountable to voters. The cabinet doesn't have the inherent authority to regulate. The cabinet has the authority to regulate what the General Assembly says they can regulate. And while the cabinet may be tasked in crafting these regulations to protect the Commonwealth, the ultimate responsibility relies, with us. We have to have some transparency in doing that. If you go down to the second paragraph, I have a little bit of issue with what the cabinet says, what they deem is necessary. I'm not sure that the cabinet has the authority to determine what's necessary. I think it relies with this body. And I think that this bill declaring major policy decisions, those that impose a major economic impact on citizens, I think should go through this legislative body. If you go a little further to the paragraph starts with further. Let me back up a little bit. We ran a last year's, is all that the staff produced for me, last year's kind of analysis of what would have caught in these bills, and there wasn't a single one in the energy cabinet that would have been under this program. There were several in other things that we could have rolled up into one, and it was about 11 total. When you take out the ones that were specifically outlined in bill numbers, it's down to about 5, and that's generally across the 11 states that's done this. You find between 5 and 8 to 10 a year, so it's not a huge lift for everybody to check on. So the last paragraph they mention about emergencies. There's a carve out in this bill for emergencies for public health and threats. Real emergencies are covered under this bill, and that includes any environmental emergency that may harm public safety and health. So I think all those are covered in there. And, in the last section, the very last paragraph, they're afraid that they can't regulate environmental harms. There's other states that go so far, even our border state of West Virginia, they go so far as that every single environmental regulation, not even the ones under 500,000, has to go through the General Assembly. And they're not a full-time body, and they're able to get that done as well. So I don't see any issues with those.
You have a follow-up question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The $500,000 major economic, the threshold that you
Yes, sir.
came up with, is that common throughout other? You just talked about West Virginia,
Yeah.
but where did that number come from? Is that defined in statute somewhere else? Where did that originate?
It is defined in our statutes otherwhere in other places, and that's kind of where we started. It goes anywhere from $200,000 up to $1 million in all these other states. Since it's already defined as $500,000 in our statutes, we felt like that was the easier transition to do.
Would you be willing to work with the cabinet if it passes the committee today to try to address some of their concerns before it hits the floor?
Sure, I'd be more than willing to answer anything that they think that might cause a hiccup for them. I mean, I appreciate what they do. This is not targeted to dismantle that organization. I just think that, and it doesn't stop them from doing these regulations. It just, if there's a major economic policy decision, I think it should come through the legislature with them. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions? Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, do we have one? You good? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative All.
Can I briefly explain my vote?
Yes.
I'm going to be a no with hopes that you do have an opportunity between now and when it comes to the floor to work with the Energy and Environment Cabinet to address their concerns and make sure. I think they are accountable to the people. I understand your sentiment, but the governor is elected by the entire citizenry of the Commonwealth, and he appoints the secretary of that cabinet. So I do think that the cabinet is responsive and accountable to the citizens of the Commonwealth because the governor is elected statewide. So I think they have a role and a responsibility to play in these decisions, and there are going to be times in an emergency we're not here all the time. And you said, we could address it if they need to, but we're not here all the time.
Wrap it
They're
up
here,
briefly.
so I'm voting. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
vote no today.
Thank you.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Callaway.
Aye.
Representative Kleins. Representative Deeds.
Yes.
Representative Donworth.
I'd like to explain my vote, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For me, I think to be able to say to an organization or to an agency, you can't spend more than $500,000 in a 2-year period. That means $250,000 per year. I believe in the subject matter experts that they have the expertise necessary to make those determinations. I agree with Representative All that they are. They are at the discretion of the executive branch who is elected. Sorry. They are accountable to the voters through the executive branch. So I'm a no today. Thank you.
Representative Pfister.
Yes.
Representative Flannery. Representative Gentry. Representative Hampton.
Yes.
Representative Heverin.
Yes.
Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni.
Briefly explain, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to pass today. I think I understand what you're trying to do with this legislation. We did get the letter from the cabinet pretty late, so I haven't really had a chance to dig into it or contact them or communicate with them. So I appreciate your willingness to have that dialogue with them as well. So in hopes of that, I'm going to be a pass today and reserve the right to vote based on the outcome of that conversation.
All right, thank you.
Representative Meredith.
Can I explain my vote, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to vote yes today, and in the explaining that vote, I want to say I appreciate what my good friends have mentioned as far as their concerns go on this bill. But I will tell you, as a member of the General Assembly and a longtime member of the General Assembly now, my concerns and why I think this bill is such a good and important bill. They are here every day, the folks that work in the executive branch. We're not. But what I have seen, even as a chairman of a committee and a chairman of a committee where I have several regulatory agencies that I deal with, I make a request for information from those agencies. And sometimes it's a 3 to 4 week turnaround for me to get an answer when I'm chairing a committee that they have jurisdiction with. And that's a very frustrating thing for us when we're only here 30 and 60 days a year. We need to have these subject matter experts be able to turn these answers around to us in a quick way so that we can make good policy. And so if everybody is working together and we're getting the answers we need, I don't think a bill like this is necessary, but we're not getting that from time to time, and that's why a bill like this is so necessary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Neighbors.
Yes.
Representative Raymer.
Yes.
Representative Smith.
I'd like to explain my vote, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And following up with the past comment, and I understand the other side of the aisle, and I hope you have a better communication because it is frustrating when we reach out for constituent service to find answers and we don't get replies. So you wonder why things like this occur. My suggestion is when you have those meetings with them, it's for better communication, we wouldn't have to deal with this. So it is frustrating on both sides. You're trying to defend. I understand with the victor goes the spoils, and it's that way always in politics. But understand where we're coming from, and I hope you don't see it as a shot. It's not a shot at somebody's shot across the bow, letting them know we'd like to have communication too, and this is a good bill to get. It got their attention, and it needs to be passed so we have an understanding on how we communicate. But I appreciate the sponsor on this bill, and I'm a yes. Thank you.
Representative Wilson. Yes. Chairman Cook.
Yes. House Bill 6 passes. Good luck moving to the House floor, Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Thank you. Thank you. Representative Callaway, are you ready?
Mr. Chairman, could I
Yes.
please record a yes vote on House Bill 422? Thank you.
Representative Callaway, make sure your green light's on. Introduce yourself for the record, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman Cook. I am Representative Emily Callaway, and I represent the 37th District. So there is a committee sub.
Do we have a motion on the sub by Representative Bana, second by Dan Pfister. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Committee sub passes and is in play.
Thank you. So that was just minor tweaking after a continuing conversation with League of Cities. I just want to make sure that we preserve how public hiring, those practices, we want to protect those. So it was just a tweak on page 4. So I do want to thank you for hearing this again. If you've been on this committee a while, you've heard this a few times. So I want to thank you first and foremost for hearing it again, for supporting it. I've heard a lot of positive feedback about this. This has opened up a lot of doors. So I do want to thank you up front for that. What this bill does is reduce some barriers for citizens that are reentering society and have a felony on their record, who are pursuing an occupational license. And the way it is in statute is for public hiring, public employers. So that's why it's a little bit tedious when you begin picking it apart, because state doesn't hire the same as a board is going to consider an applicant. So we had to be very meticulous about how we handled that. So all of that is laid out. And again, it's just reducing barriers. We want to get individuals who want to work back to work. And in the spirit of reducing barriers, this did pass unanimously through the House last session. And so hopefully we will reduce some barriers in the Senate and get this all the way through this time. So I'll entertain any questions if you have.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion. Before we go there, Representative All has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative, I think this is a good bill in spirit. I intend to vote for today. I appreciate what you're trying to do here. I do have a couple of quick clarifying questions. Do we have a fiscal note or a fiscal impact on if this would cost anything if we did this?
No, this is, no.
No. Okay. Number one, why the carve out for the cities and counties? Could you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. For example, state, they don't even consider if you've got to fill, there's no box to be checked there. Secondly, their turnaround time for hiring practices, it's like 10 days. So that's going to be a little broader for our licensing. And local, obviously, they handle their hiring very differently from county to county, local municipalities from county to city and all that. So we just wanted to keep it wide open. They do refer to different chapters. So the .030 of the chapter 335, that's mostly where cities they get their direction from. So we just wanted to honor what was already in place and not disrupt. Again, that's why there's no fiscal note. This really shouldn't be difficult to implement. It's just asking a few extra questions, getting some information out front to any applicants, making that available prior to the education process. So it's really just a more transparent option.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Representative Pfister. Is there a second? We have a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative All.
Yes.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Callaway.
Aye.
Representative Kleins.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Donworth.
Yes.
Representative Pfister.
Yes.
Representative Flannery.
Yes.
Representative Gentry. Representative Hampton.
Yes.
Representative Heverin.
Yes.
Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni.
Yes.
Representative Meredith. Representative Neighbors.
Yes.
Representative Raymer.
Yes.
Representative Smith. Representative Wilson. Chairman Cook.
Yes. House Bill 87 passes. Congratulations. Look forward to hearing it on the House floor. Representative Neighbors, House Bill 255. Want to make your way down here? Do you have any guest testimony with you today? They could come forward as well. Gentlemen, just make sure your green light's on and everybody can introduce themselves for the record, and then the floor will be yours, Representative Neighbors.
Good morning, Chair, and thank you, committee members, for allowing us to be here today. Today we are presenting House Bill 255. This bill will, let me introduce myself for the record, Amy Neighbors, State Representative for the 21st House District, and I'll go ahead and let these guys get that on the record as well.
Avery Schroyer with APTA Kentucky.
Stephen Curley with the Kentucky Board of Physical Therapy.
Okay, now I'll proceed. So today we're presenting House Bill 255. This bill will update the statutes governing the Commonwealth of Kentucky's Physical Therapy Board. The statutes have remained largely unchanged for the past 4 decades. However, healthcare has continued to evolve. The Kentucky Board of Physical Therapy has been working on changes to the Practice Act for over 15 years. This has been a collaborative effort with the American Physical Therapy Association Kentucky chapter. The overall goal of these changes is to streamline language of a statute originally written in 1958. The proposed changes update language for improved reading and understanding for the public and professionals. By supporting House Bill 255, we affirm the responsibility to ensure that our healthcare regulations serve the public who rely on them. Mr. Curley with the board, I think now we'll go over some of the highlights of the proposed changes.
Thank you, Representative. And thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. Representative Neighbors talked about streamlining some of the things that we're trying to do. Our law was written in 58. There's some language in there that's still from that time period, things like lewd and immoral, that is no longer a term that we can legally kind of define. So it's defining things like that to ensure that the public understands what that means, as well as the professionals that have to abide by these statutes and regulations. So it's really taking a wholesale approach to looking at the regulation, making sure that we're not being overly burdensome in places, making sure that we can cut out things that need to be cut out, and that everybody understands it, the general public as well as professionals. It also adds things like we license PTs, physical therapists, as well as physical therapist assistants. There is no definition. Right now, PTAs are certified to work, and for all extensive purposes, we license them.
Motion on the bill.
No, hold on, back up. We have a committee sub, so let's, and that's what they're describing right now. So we need a motion on the committee. All right, we have a motion on the sub. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Now we have the committee sub is in play.
Motion on the bill
as
as amended by the committee sub.
We have a motion on, and we have a second. Any questions or comments before we vote? Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative All.
Yes.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Callaway. Representative Kleins.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Donworth.
Yes.
Representative Pfister.
Yes.
Representative Flannery.
Yes.
Representative Gentry. Representative Hampton.
Yes.
Representative Hevron.
Yes.
Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni.
Yes.
Representative Meredith. Representative Neighbors.
Yes.
Representative Raymer.
Yes.
Representative Smith. Representative Wilson. Chairman Cook.
If you're ever in the annex looking for something to do, open up a practice act. It will be a learning experience for you. We have tons of these that haven't been touched in decades that desperately need updating, and it's a lot of work to do it. And it's a lot of work to get everybody to come to the table to get to a point where everyone can agree on this. And I know you all spent several months working on this. I appreciate your work and bringing us a bill that is ready to go. House Bill 255 passes with committee sub. Look forward to hearing it on the House floor.
Thank you all.
House Bill 437, Representative Hampton. I believe you have a few guests with you today. Is there a committee sub on this one? Okay. Make sure your green light's on. Introduce yourself for the record, and welcome to your first time presenting in L&O.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'm here to testify on House Bill 437 today. I have with me Pat Morgan with the Chiefs of Police Association and Chief Todd Kelly with Ashland Police Department. House Bill
And your name as well, please.
Representative Tony Hampton, District 62.
Thank you.
House Bill 437, in essence, is a straightforward cleanup bill. Last session, legislation was passed to clarify city alcohol beverage control administrators and investigators had the same powers as their county counterparts. In doing so, it was recognized that state ABC administrators and local administrators have full police powers of peace officers, including the power to make arrests. The same is true for city, county, and urban county ABC investigators. What House Bill 437 simply does is to provide the state and local administrators and local investigators will not have the power to make an arrest unless they are POP certified. This is consistent with the statutory requirements of other law enforcement officials to be POP certified in order to make arrests. This bill does not affect any other powers or authority of ABC administrators and local investigators. We worked on this legislation with the state ABC office, and it is supported by the Kentucky League of Cities, the Kentucky Sheriff's Association, and the Kentucky Police Chiefs Association. Pat Morgan with the Sheriff's Association and Chief Todd Kelly will share some thoughts with you on this bill. Go ahead.
This is Mr. Chairman, this is
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, thank you. We're very, very supportive to make sure that our civilian administrators locally are not put in harm's way by making a physical arrest when they're not being trained to do so, or evaluate a law or anything of that nature. So we're in support of this action.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion and a second, but before we do, Representative All has a question.
Just a quick comment. I appreciate your time today. I thank you for coming down here. This is an example of what a good piece of legislation is supposed to look like. You reach out proactively to multiple stakeholders who are involved, different associations who the bill has impacted. You're correcting a mistake in statute, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you proactively reaching out to the cabinet and working with them on this piece of legislation. I'm excited to vote yes today on the bill.
We have a motion and second. Any further questions? Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative All.
Yes.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Callaway.
Aye.
Representative Kleins.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Donworth.
Yes.
Representative Pfister.
Yes.
Representative Flannery.
Yes.
Representative Gentry. Representative Hampton.
Yes.
Representative Hevron. Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni.
Yes.
Representative Meredith. Representative Neighbors.
Yes.
Representative Raymer.
Yes.
Representative Smith.
Yes.
Representative Wilson.
Yes.
Chairman Cook.
I'm a yes. Representative Hampton, congratulations. I'm sure that no one will ask you about roosters, cows, infield fly rule, or any other harassment questions with your first bill on the floor. We all look forward to hearing that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I appreciate it.
437 passes. And Representative Kleins, would you like to register a vote on 422?
Yes, thank you, Chair Cook. I'd like to vote a yes on 422.
Any other members? Motion to adjourn? Motion. Second. We're adjourned.